I'm doing Depth vs. Heard, pop culture, entertainment, things like that. This here is by Vanity Unfair. Wait a minute. Vanity Fair. Sorry, I said Vanity Unfair. Alright, correction. Vanity Fair. This was tweeted out by Eve Barlow, so I checked it out, and it says on Tuesday, Amber Heard filed an appealite brief listing 16 grounds for appeal 4 months after a jury awarded her ex-husband, Johnny Depp, $10.3 million in damages, which he has not paid at all, I don't think. During the trial, which ended in June, Depp claimed he had been defamed by a 2018 op-ed Heard wrote at the behest of the ACLU in support of victims of domestic abuse. And that claim was proven. Let's not forget that important bit of information. The opinion piece did not refer to Depp by name, but he successfully argued that readers could infer she was talking about him in 2 of its sentences and its headline, Amber Heard, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. And let's not forget, by law, you don't have to mention someone by name. So that's why I said Vanity Unfair, not Vanity Fair. Because if you were being fair, you'd just give a little bit more of a more clear perspective on Johnny's point. And they go on to say that Amber also got a small award, but Johnny got, I think, like 85% of the verdict decision. But they say she is going to appeal, or she's expected to appeal. They go on to say that there's lack of clear and convincing evidence for actual malice. And my argument here is, well, the malice part isn't the most important part. The most important part is that Johnny got defamed, people thought he was an abuser, including Disney and Warner Brothers, and he lost franchise roles in movies. That's the important part. The important part is what actually happened in reality. Now, having bad intentions makes it worse. Malice makes it worse. But the important thing is, it happened. It can't be taken back. So it doesn't seem like a full win here as far as a counter argument or an appeal or something like that. Some of the grounds had already been mentioned either in court or post-trial interviews by her former representation, Elaine Brennenhoff, so there were few surprises. There usually aren't too many surprises with you-know-who because a lot of it's out in the open and figured out anyway. Usually just waiting for certain people to catch up. Several of the points have to do with evidence admitted that should not have been, and evidence that was not admitted that should have been, including various communications with medical professionals as well as with employees, friends, and families. When they say medical professionals, I think they mean like psychiatrists and things like that, not actual doctors who deal with physical wounds, bruises, broken bones that was claimed, broken ribs, broken nose, not those kind of doctors. Kind of like, shrinks and psychiatrists and more opinionated type doctors. But okay. Friends, family, employee, fine, bring them all on. I mean, they were brought on. I guess go ahead, bring them on again. And then they argue that statements Depp made were things that happened before the op-ed was printed. But we have to talk about things that happened leading up to the op-ed. That is, Depp was suing over the op-ed and thus claiming he lost work and was owed damages because of it, but Depp led members of the jury to believe that Heard was on trial for statements or events prior to that article's publication in the Washington Post in 2018. They reached a settlement for divorce in 2016. But that's something that Amber's lawyers should have argued full force if it was a factor, if it was important. I don't think they were great lawyers, but something that important, I don't think they'd miss in a 6-week trial in some way or some form. Just my silly little non-legal opinion, though. And they go on to say a few things that are cut and paste that have been getting around about how Amber has dropped Elaine and she picked up David Axelrod and J. Ward Brown for the next little legal adventure. And they also say that that law firm had a court win against Sarah Palin, which probably wasn't so difficult because, whether you're on her side or not politically, she's not the sharpest tool in the shed. Just saying. And they say this, a spokesperson for Heard told Vanity Unfair in August that a different court warrants different representation, particularly as so much new evidence is now coming to light. Of course, all this new evidence now we haven't seen or heard of for 6 years after a 6-week trial, it's all coming out now. And they mentioned that Johnny was last seen in New York and Amber last seen in Spain. Fine. As you might know, I'm not a law tuber. I'm basically speculation, opinion. I report the core facts, of course. So I can't give a great opinion if this will actually pan out, the appeal will happen. But historically, aside from the UK case, which we know there were certain issues with, seems like Amber's having trouble proving her points. Let me know what you think down below. Consider subscribing here. If you don't subscribe, I'll be pretty sad about it, but I'll get over it, make a new video. Rant done for now. See you next time.